Hello, everybody, and welcome to week 1, I guess, if last week was the recap. Recapping week 1, SteakDora the Explorers.
Are we going with that terrible naming convention again?
Well, I named the last one pre-cap instead of week 1, so yes.
Alright, so these aren't previews, these are reviews.
Yes.
Recaps.
Well,
I guess that's so normal. People normally name them like week 2 preview and not week 1 review because...
But, like, the title below us does say
the other.
review, so...
It does, yes. We expect you to...
Over here. It says reviews. These are reviews. So this is, we're going to be reviewing week 1 of REL 1 and 2A. This is the second week. We did the pre-cap last week. And so that means this week, instead of looking at teams and how they've come along, we're going to take a look at matches. We're going to look at one match from REL 1 and one from REL 2A. We all know which one from REL 2A we're watching. We said last week which one that was going to be.
We did, yes.
That's going to be the Vampires and Death Roller Dwarves, because hell yes.
I need a name for my new Croxicore.
In what team?
My clan team.
What's the theme of your... Oh, it's Scaly Thighs, right?
No, I changed the theme. It's now called Rotter's Stolen Goods.
Oh, I hate you. Just name it after me or like some other person.
Yeah, I mean, I might actually call it like Wonder Twin A's Immense Disappointment or something like that.
Yeah, that seems about like dirty, filthy traitors, or like Herringzord keeps stealing my clanmates, or something like. I blame Herringzord.
I already have T-Self Salt, so I can't have you as Salt in there either.
Oh, I'm not salty though. Like Disappointment, Steakmittens Disappointment, or Steakmittens like Betrayal, or Shadorra's Betrayal. Shadorra's Betrayal. How disappointing. Okay, one other thing before we get started is I'm going away on Saturday, so I will not from Saturday to Saturday, so I'm not going to be around for next week's recap. Ideally, we'll find someone to host Shadorra while I'm gone, but we haven't figured that out yet. So there may not be a recap next week, and I'm very sorry. But we'll do our best to get something in, at least. But I'm going to be on a beach in a tropical country, not in front of a computer playing Blood Bowl. So,
He's got to arrange some local Coke deals.
That's very true.
Set up that supply chain. Steak's Immense Disappointment is too large, and I'm upset.
No, that's disappointing.
Steak's Big Sad.
Steak's Big Sad is a good one.
Good.
Anyway, we're looking at matches this week, which is unfortunate because a lot of legends were created and destroyed this week in REL 1 and 2A, but we won't get to see that until next week. Shall we jump into the first game and stop talking about other things?
You say that like we don't do it literally every time, but yes, we should.
Okay.
I should get out of this team creation, so give me a minute.
That's fair, and you should also either sit up straighter or angle your camera downwards.
Posture.
Yeah, one of the two. But the first match that we're going to take a look at was mentioned to us in the Discord as a potential candidate. So there you go. If you tell us it's a game that you think is interesting, it's probably one we're going to watch. Because, spoiler alert, we're lazy. And if you say, hey, watch this game, that means we don't have to do work and probably won't figure out which one we should watch. So what we're going to watch is the Voltrex Vanguard versus Conspiration Entropique between Ramesset and Tessa. And I will get into the game. High Elves and Chaos. There's a bunch of elfy Chaos matches early. Archangel played Atomex, Ramesset played Tessa, and Not for Science played me. So there was 3 like Elf versus Nurgle or Chaos matches. But, I mean, I guess to be fair... Oh, and Motley played Stouticus, which is also Nurgle. Although, to be fair, I guess half this division is Nurgle and half of it is Elves. So that's going to happen every week.
Div 1. All right, I'm getting into it now. Just a sec, sorry.
Yeah. We've got Volcano, Bretts. We've got High Elves, Nurgle. Or Wood Elves, Nurgle. High Elves, Chaos, Nurgle, Dark Elves, Necro, Chaos, Nurgle, High Elves, Nurgle, Chaos. That's Div 1. Enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Elves or Chaos. Those are your options.
At least you don't have to talk about them for an hour each week.
That's true. Are you in game yet?
I'm loading it up.
You are slow.
I know. pouted at you, but you did not find it effective.
Oh, I didn't look because I don't have your Discord window open, so I didn't see. I have it minimized.
I am in.
Excellent. Shall we, are you ready then to start? 3,
Yeah.
2, 1, play.
So the elves won the kick and chose to defend first. Makes sense. Pretty standard elf stuff. The Chaos won the fans. They almost won. They almost get double the fans now because they have so much fan factor. And there is a squig sandwich kiosk, so throw rocks and get the ref are canceled.
And the High Elves have picked up a babe as the only bribe, or the only inducement in play for this game. There's some good High Elves on this team.
There are some good chaos on this team, though. Especially
that's true.
Dark.
Boar is a pretty good beastman to counter elf play as well with the diving tackle wrestle. He's going to be an annoying piece this matchup, I think. And we get to see, you know...
Ooh, nice kick start. And by kick, I mean throw. And they get a blitz.
Well, yeah, deep for the elves and a blitz is kind of what they want here. I mean, they're going to blitz down one of these beastmen on the corners, and then they're just going to run through and try to put as much pressure on that ball as they can to force the beastmen or the chaos to not be able to play their game, which is keep everybody together and punch elves. They're going to be on the back foot trying to deal with the threats to their ball when the elves are coming through like this. And we see this with the elves just running straight through. We got 2 back there so far.
This thrower's in a really good position. He's basically guaranteeing that he's going to eat the blitz. Because of the way this is all positioned, it makes it very hard for the chaos to kind of get in the way of this rush. Like, they can pick up this ball, but after that, there's nothing they can really do. So Remeset immediately sensing an opportunity and going all in on this ball, which I do not blame him. That's a great scatter, too.
Yeah. Well, he's not going to have a whole lot. He's going to have, 1 movement square after he picks up that ball with the beast to go somewhere else. And we're going to have...
to pass it.
1 beastman sort of in range of, helping out.
Technically giving away a hit here, but it is a blodger, though it is an AV7 Roger, rather.
Here comes Darwin. Good boy.
Minos always get armor breaks because they have great armor break animations. Same thing with Proxigor.
When they chomp.
The chomp and the punch. They've got a really, really good punch.
I'd be pretty worried about the sidestep agi guard piece. Like, he's a threat to pick up the ball, and B, he's going to be very annoying to get rid of if you manage to mark up the ball with him and put his tackles on there.
Yep, so not getting a lot done in terms of damage. A lot of blocks.
I'd be pretty tempted to just throw the diving tackle dude on the agi player, but you're not going to have a whole lot of...
Pass it to the dodger.
It's probably the best play.
Yeah.
You just need to get it.
And he snaked it.
Yeah, that's the worrying bit, because it's, what, a 4+ pass?
Yeah. Gonna grab some more tea.
I think maybe it was better to put the diving tackle 2 heads on the agi threat player and then try to pass to, like, just the dodge guy afterwards. But maybe he had another plan for the diving tackle. Just, I'm worried about the elves just stealing this ball here. Yeah. Oh, that's not actually a knockdown, but the agi 5 doesn't care too much, and he's now a 2+, 2+, 2+ away from just scoring on his own turn 1. Oh, and he injures Schrodinger. That instant Apo for the Chaos, so he's going to get him back, but the elves have all of the advantages right now, I would say. More tackle zones on the ball, just in case we fail what we want to do. Putting a whole lot of pressure on the Chaos here. Another catcher, just in case. There goes the agi guy. Oh, he fails the pickup, and we can't actually... Or we can reroll this, yeah. For some reason, I thought we rerolled already. Does reroll, grabs it, goes. Are we going to GFI, or are we going to stall here? We GFI, and we take the touchdown. 1-0 elves on turn 1 is certainly how you want this game. And your Apo, and the Apo burn for your opponent. This is everything you want as elves against chaos so far. Well, let's try again. Another deep kick. Another blitz. No, get the ref, and it's canceled because of the squeak sandwich kiosk. Maybe the chaos can do something now. I mean, they do get another 3 LOS blocks, but it's not like the first 3 did anything for them, so... Man. Push me, push you, in the words of, I can't remember his name now. It's a Blood Bowl streamer that does recaps for the North American Blood Bowl League. Played him in the 80 English Invitational once. Nice guy, very enthusiastic. His casts sound like a shock jock radio sort of thing. It's very interesting.
Sorry, that's exactly how I expected this to be when I got back. 1-0 for the High Elves without the failed pass. There was no way they were going to recover.
It was a pretty easy... They also injured... They injured one of the Chaos Warriors. I don't remember which one. Schrodinger.
Oh,
it
got
Appo'd. Yeah. So Appo burned on turn 1 and scoring on turn 1.
Was he permed or something?
He Appo'd. I don't remember what the injury was, but he was in.
Check.
He was like insta Appo'd. It was a 6+4, whatever that is. Or the casualty was a 3+5.
It wasn't badly hurt. Yeah, so 3 is anything below a 4 is a badly hurt. So chose to power Appo a rookie Chaos Warrior? I don't know.
No, not rookie. He was block guard Mighty Blow.
What? No, it's a rookie because it's the one on the sidelines, right?
No, because this is the second drive.
It was before. Sorry, it was before. Yeah, I totally understand what happened. Okay.
It was a block guard.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You need good players.
The guard and Mighty Blow in particular make a big difference here, but it's
obviously that was the ideal way for this game to start for the
High Elves. Yeah.
Following up there. Oh, just to get farther along, I see. Going aggressive, trying to stop the chaos from forming up into a full cage. Makes a lot of sense. We are going to take a hit on this Chaos Warrior, though. If we fail to get a knockdown here, this is going to leave several pretty good players on a tackle, claw, mighty blow piece. So I don't know about this, but gets the knockdown. That was a bit risky, for sure.
You're a bit behind, but that's fine, because you'll catch up. You always do.
I always do. I did have, all my animations on, so... Oh, I'm a lot behind. I can skip that.
I mean, I can also pause for a second. Chaos are going to manage to get a nice full cage formed here, which is kind of what you have to do against players like these elves. That strength catcher, the agi blitzer. You gotta have... You don't need to be guard on both cage corners at all times like you do against some wood elf teams, but you do want to be in that nice safe cage as much as possible when you have high elves like this. Oh, wild animal. Canceling the blitz for Tessa. Things are not looking Tessa's way right now.
No, not going well. We're gonna see a hit come in on this
Wrestle Beast.
That was a dodge off tackle. So
oh nope, we're just leaping right in on the ball. I didn't realize that guy had leap.
Yeah.
So you do need to do cage corners with guard, ideally.
Yeah, and this is gonna potentially pop the ball free. Nope. That is a terrible scatter. Possibly the worst scatter, but I
mean, I think the worst scatter would be into the hands of the Chaos Warrior. But
blockless 1 die is spicy. Gets him off of the claw at least.
Where's the... yeah, it's in 2 tackle zones, so it becomes a lot less tempting. One of them being tackle, so it's a lot less tempting to just go try to pick it up with that agi elf.
Yeah, and the tentacles on the on Darwin is still active.
He goes for it though. Got the ball, dodges out, no problem. Elves. Oh my god.
3+3+? I mean, admittedly, it was a 3+3+. You had a... Yeah, I mean... I get why you'd do this, but yeah, elves, indeed.
Wild animal again.
At least it wasn't a blitz this time.
That's true. It was
that's a lot of ones for Tessa.
There we go. Lindell Lightfoot is injured. Tessa gets something finally in an injury on a high elf. The high elves do have a bench, so it doesn't do much in terms of player count. But
at least a block piece out.
Yep.
A random block lino, but he's fine. Just a badly hurt.
We do get to wrestle this ball as well, though. Nope. No, we don't. Yes, we do. I think that's the correct play. If you let the elves get another turn at running away with that ball, it's going to be a lot.
For sure, but now it means you don't get a reroll for the pickup, so everything gets a lot scarier here.
That's true, which is why I like him going for blocks. Like, damage is going to be a turning point in this game if he gets a bunch. And they're less likely to fail than just the random 3+ with this block Beastman that he's going to try to make is.
Gets a 2+ to put the Chaos Warrior on the ball, which is nice. And then he tries to pick it up and fails.
Yep.
Terrible scatter. Truly terrible.
Tessa is not having the luck he would like so far.
Now it's an easy 2-die to free up a piece to go support this. Dodge doing a thing. Oh, never mind. It's tackle.
Never lucky.
I really wanted, like, it's so nice when that, like, first skill dodge piece, that was not off a tackle, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, 2+ to make it a 2-die.
Yeah, 2+ with a built-in reroll. So.
Yep. There's another tackle doing a thing. Or was it? Yep. Another tackle doing a thing on the ball carrier there. Dodge doing a thing. Man, all of Ramaset's skills just doing a thing so far. Oh, he failed to catch. Spends the reroll. Gets it and runs to space. Good lord, these elves are gross. Like, what is this? Now he's going to hand off. Makes that catch. 2 GFIs to score to make it 2-0 on turn 4. He's not going to, though. No, he's not going. I'm saying he could, but he's not going to.
But yes, elves are elves.
This is gross, man.
It is gross.
This is one of those games as like the bash team where you just feel like you can't do anything. It's like, why am I here?
Yeah.
Like there's almost no point in the chaos team just even being here because the elves are just kind of doing whatever they want, and the chaos can do literally nothing to stop it.
Turn 1 blitz travel into snaked pass, like into a deep kick so the elves were able to like flood the backfield. And then Tessa tried to recover using a goat pass, and the goat pass snaked. It was a 4+, but he snaked it either way. Yeah. So couldn't recover, so the ball was just sitting there in the backfield, and the elves took it and scored on turn 2.
Yep, turn 1 actually for the elves.
Turn 2. Oh no, yeah, 2 more on turn 1. Yeah,
because they was off the back of the blitz.
Blitz is turn 0. Yeah.
Third wild animal failure in a row, but this one was a 4+ instead of a 2+ at least.
It's the claw palm of these plus strength piece.
Gets
a natural break.
We use the mighty blow on the armor, unfortunately, but we can still reroll it.
Oh, I wouldn't. He's got a babe. I don't think I would have done that though.
He does have. He has a babe, but I feel like I would have left that as a KO.
I would have considered it if mighty blow hadn't been used to break the armor, but the odds of you rolling better than a KO on that, like your odds of him staying up for a drive were better, I think, if you made him roll the 3+. Yeah, I'd have to do the math.
4+, but yeah, double skull.
It's a 3+ because he's got a babe.
Oh yes, right. The one thing that the chaos have going for them so far, I guess, is that the elves are now out of rerolls, but that doesn't matter when it's 2-0 on your own drive.
Yeah, and they also have so many built-in rerolls that it's going to be hard for. Like that's not going to matter a lot of the time.
Well, but it's just interesting that in 4 turns he's managed to go through 3 of his rerolls when he has so many built-ins.
In terms of rerolls for touchdowns, he's doing all right though.
Yeah, I would gladly spend 3 rerolls to be 2-0 up in my opponent's drive.
Yeah, definitely.
And my opponent's Apo being burned. Like, the Chaos are just getting absolutely annihilated here.
Yeah, I mean, that probably won't matter. It's unlikely the Chaos have another, injury.
No, that's true. But that's one of the ways I often think about Blood Bowl is, like, dealing with your opponent's resources. Like, treating the Apo and the rerolls as a resource they have. And, expending the rerolls, expending the wizard, whatever, is removing their options. Mm-hmm. And I like to think of Blood Bowl that way in terms of, like, a board game, right? Because it is, fundamentally.
Yes. Oh, that's a spicy kick, potentially.
Oh, my God. Deep kick in the rain. Like, fuck you, Tessa. Fuck you.
Oh, God, that's a back-breaking kick right there.
This whole half so far has just been, like, an enormous middle finger to Tessa. Like, just fuck you.
It's another one for this drive, at least.
Oh, my God. There you go. I mean, they're KOs and your opponent has a babe, but...
Helps for potentially scoring in 3 turns.
Yeah, it's going to be hard with that kick and in the rain.
Yeah, I agree. He's got sure hands and extra arms, so it's only a 3+. which is exactly what I said when I failed 11 consecutive pickup rolls with my Agi4 Skink.
The one thing that I'm worried about, though, is that a 3-turn with movement 6 when the kick is that deep is probably going to involve a handoff or a pass, and that's going to be harder in the rain as well. There you go. Darwin. Darwin does a thing. What a good
3
boy.
for 3, not bad.
We are-
Admittedly, with the babe, not all are likely to stick. Goes for the garter. I like this. Gets the knock.
Oh, Mighty Blow Claw. I mean, we're starting to work through the Elves' resources in terms of players now. They've got 4 players out, 1 on the bench, and those KOs are pretty likely to come back. Failed the GFI to get the ball. You have to reroll this.
Fuck's sake. Yeah, you do. Otherwise, you never score.
And Sure Hands does a thing. And Extra Arms does a thing, actually.
Yeah, because that would have been a 4+.
So
goes for the exposed Chaos Warrior, makes a lot of sense. Doesn't go for the foul, so
man,
obviously unlikely to break there. Armor 9 and no Mighty Blow and all that.
You know, the Elves just need to
get in the way. Like as long as they can make this harder.
Make your opponent roll dice, slow down the scoring threats a little bit, and you've pretty much got this.
Yeah, I mean, now that Tessa does not have a reroll, this all gets a little bit dicier, if you'll forgive the obvious play on words.
I forgive your obvious play on words. I forgive you.
Interesting elf screen. Call it non-traditional. It's grouping all the guard to make this more awkward. Darwin finally committing to a blitz. Gets a Claw Mighty Blow hit on the Garter, which does nothing. That Garter is immune to Claw Mighty Blow. The Chaos Warrior positioning here made it impossible for Darwin to tag up 2 pieces, which I think was a positioning mistake.
Yeah. It would have been nice to get him to... The big benefit of Tentacles against Elf teams is just, trading 2 players for 1. Like, I'll sit my Tentacle player here forever, but you also lose 2 guys. And since Elves are so valuable, it's becomes...
So Tessa now needs scoring threats. Multiple scoring threats if he's going to do this. Because there's no way... Yep. 1 is not going to be good enough, though.
He's probably going to dodge out the dodge guy. No, he's going to block with him. He gets a KO out of it, though.
Oh, nice. Well, some of those are likely to stick. 1 on average.
I was thinking that he would, he would leave the stand firm guy on that elf to make his life a bit harder, and then dodge out the dodge guy to have him be a second scoring threat. But right now we only have the 1.
Now you just blitz the only scoring threat with your strength 4 piece, and you call it a day. The scoring threat is even.
Yeah, if you push him once.
Push is not good enough. No, push is not good enough.
It's not good enough strictly, but it makes it 2 GFIs instead of 1. And when your opponent has no rerolls, that certainly makes it better. And you can also just take away so much of his look, he's gonna have to dodge into 2 tackle zones.
No, you can chain push this currently.
What are we chain pushing? The Beastman?
No, not easily, I guess.
Not really.
Yeah, you can. If you put player... Oh, he dub skulls immediately. Okay, never mind. There was one. So if you put 2 players on top of the Beastman and the Elf, and then you blitz the Elf from the corner, you could at least push here, and then maybe you can get a second one out of that. You might be able to get him into a position where it's only a 3+2+.
You could, yeah. You could push him to. You could push him to after 2 chain pushes. You could push him to in front of the block guard or the block dodge elf, and then make it 3+2+, and say the GFI. But
that far? So it was never going to happen. The kick was a death sentence.
Pretty much, yeah. Just everything this whole half has been 100% against Tessa.
Yep. Other than those blocks, which went pretty well, but. Let's see how these KO rolls go.
Yeah, this is the real question. 2 back. So basically perfectly average.
How dare you?
Oh, right. Normally you're ahead, so I often skip a little bit there to try to catch up, but I'm not this time. I mean, yeah, if you push too hard, Elves get a 3rd, but he needs to score twice. And with the Elves still having 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... The Elves still have 10 players. And now we go into the Elves drive. He had to push to do something, or else he's going to lose anyway. It's definitely one of those situations, I think, where you do the risky thing, like the win more, lose more play, like the high variance thing to hope. Because if you don't get it, you're gonna lose anyway, so you might as well take the 10% chance to make it even.
This game's already a 100% losing position, so
yeah,
like the elves could just dick around for the rest of the game, and there's no way you turn them over twice.
No, like the elves just are gonna pick up the ball on the agi guy, keep him in the backfield. They've got a natural one-turner if they really want to.
They could natty one-turn to really sink this, but
I don't think you do. You just keep the natty one-turner. Perfect defense is certainly a thing that he can use to try to...
That is actually really bad. Because that means the Darwin's going right on those pretty boys. Then
you don't need to natty one-turn, but you take him and you put him like near the... kind of where he is, so at any point he's a scoring threat. All he has to do is move 2 squares past the LOS or so, and he's a free scoring threat. So at any point, you can just, if you get free a little bit where you can protect him, make him a scoring threat, handoff score if you really want to. But for the most part, all you really need to do as the elves right now is, dick around and the game's over.
Interesting that he goes straight for the Chaos Warrior. He's going to try to break up this right-hand side, I guess, using the thrower. Thrower's pretty slow, though. He's going to sideline cage and go in with the...
I think he's going to just try to hand it off, or throw it to the one-turner and then just go for it.
Ooh. There's a 1.
I think this was all unnecessary. We now get to punch the wrestle guy.
That is bad. And also, you had a thrower. Why were you making that thrower with a wrestle piece?
I don't know.
I mean, I guess it would have been a pickup in the rain, so it wouldn't have been a 2+.
And now we blitz with the Claw Mighty Blow. We could have done this and double skull.
So many hits this turn.
Yeah, we get a lot. The problem is the way that he did these blocks already means that we're probably not going to be able to pick up the ball with anybody relevant. But
yeah, but he was already gonna lose this. I think he's just looking for damage at this point.
I mean, that's fair.
Even if you steal and score, your opponent still has a natural one-turner. Unless you can take out the natural one-turner.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same situation that happened to me in my game today, really, is you could... If he was playing for the win, like we were on week 11 and he knew he needed to win, what he could have done there was block with this Chaos Warrior on this wrestle guy, which would have freed up the block Beastman, who he could have used to pick up the ball after this blitz that he occurred.
He had an opportunity here to if he had punched Celador the Returned with...
this is going to be a good Darwin position, though.
It is. But if he had done... if he had punched Celador the Returned, he could have gotten Boar onto the ball, at least, and picked it up, potentially.
He could have also gotten Heisenberg.
Lavoisier.
Yeah. Could have also gotten Heisenberg onto the ball. Oh, failed that, and we already dub-skilled, so we're not rerolling that one, and he's KO'd.
Yeah, well, he didn't need to do those GFIs, so we'll call that... I don't know if coaching error, but certainly a priority
error.
decision. Well, not an error. You just made a call. You prioritize punching over and getting Darwin into a great position over.
Oh yeah, tentacles. That feels nice. Don't clip that.
Tentacles. That feels nice. Got a giggle out of Emily.
Yeah, it did.
I can't imagine why.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, since it's the first game of the season, you don't care too much if you get a tie or a loss if it gets you some good SPP or something.
Going in with a natty one-turner.
If this was week 12 and you knew you needed to win, I think you definitely play that last turn quite a bit differently than he did. But since it's game 1, who cares?
Okay.
Oh.
Man. Snakes in the grass.
Suddenly,
also,
yeah.
That's interesting.
I mean, he can't score off it yet, but
we could have a game here.
There's a chance.
Jeez, these KOs, that bell is just ringing.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah.
Thanks, Ben.
He can't get the diving tackle guy on that natural one-turner though, so it is. He's going to have to double GFI to pick up the ball, single GFI to just even mark it. It's still relatively safe, but at least it's on the floor in the rain, and that one-turner is an agi, so it's a 3+ instead of a 2. but like I think you can double GFI with the killer to pick up the ball, and that's kind of the. You could also single GFI.
Why'd you make that block? Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy.
I feel like
that was a 1 in 9 of a block, and it won an 81. I don't know about that one.
In my game earlier, I trip skulled, rerolled into double skull pow. I was 1 dice away from the hexa skull. So close. I was excited when it was almost there.
You'll get one.
I mean, when I saw the triple skull, I was like, Jesus Christ. But then I rerolled it and saw skull pow, and I was like, whoa. One day. It's the second closest I've ever gotten to hexa skulls.
I think it's not that high variance, but I do really still enjoy my Croxagore dub sculling himself to death. My Bloxagore.
Yeah, I like the rando uphill Chorf block that killed my beast as well. That was a good one.
I think he was Claw Mighty Blow, so it wasn't like the most unheard of thing.
I don't think he was Claw. I think he was just Mighty Blow, and my beast was block, and it was uphill, and just killed him. And he failed to reach in. Well, we now get the ball upfield because he couldn't do anything to stop it. And elves continue to just elf.
He gets Darwin gets to kill the natural one-turner as retribution.
I hope so. Here's the first of the 3 dies. We get it. We don't do anything.
That's okay. The dirty player is going to do it. Dirty players are the real killers.
As I know very well, when I played High Elves, I left the High Elves with 2 elves, but all of the SPP...
we are full committing to this foul.
I got no SPP out of pitch clearing elves because they were all from fouls. And dead. Oh, damn. I was right.
These are the killers. Apo says he's still dead.
Oh. I swear to God that wasn't me knowing the result and saying that he was dying. I just said dead and it worked out.
I knew he was dead.
I
didn't know that was the thing that killed him, but
I did not know he was dead. Well, thanks, Tessa. I really appreciate you killing a one-turner.
Yeah, took one for the team on this one for sure.
Oh yeah, that feels good.
I think we're gonna see a handoff here, to the catcher. Oh, short pass even. Spicy.
I'm just trying to get that extra SPP. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do at this point. This game was over 6 turns ago. The Chaos at this point are just trying to kill stuff and get SPP, really. And they did kill a thing. Well, who are they fouling this turn? Wrestle or Wrestle are your options, so take your pick. With the Chaos Warrior is going to go after, the guard guy, I would say. Mighty Blow Claw Chaos Warrior is just going to go crunch him. At least that's what I would do. You say, if you would like to keep stalling, I will keep fouling. So, take your pick.
Yeah. Goes for the thrower because it is a better chance of getting a knockdown, and he's stand firm, so he doesn't have to worry about being served.
Oh, that's fair, yeah.
No ding this time.
If you're worried about SPP, then, which I guess you are, you're more likely to get it off that.
Yeah, because that guy doesn't have tackle.
Yeah, I mean, if you're more worried about winning, you would go after the guard guy, but the game's already over, really. So
I think going after the thrower, even in terms of winning, the guard piece is better, but your odds of getting a removal on the thrower were much higher.
You've already got quite a few removals. If you're
but he's got a babe, so those aren't gonna stick.
That's true.
As soon as they're down to 5 or 6 players, elves just have nothing they can really do anymore.
That's true. I forgot about the fact that most of them were KOs.
Gonna keep going. Because didn't have any sweepers here in the middle, and Chaos are too slow to get this. Not necessarily too slow. It would be a 3+2+2+. Not unheard of, but it would be on to Blodge with no tackle. So
well, Darwin can crunch into that strength guy. Go for it, Darwin. I believe in you.
Could have, but didn't.
I mean, he would have had to GFI the second frenzy if you failed the first block, but
Darwin doesn't fail.
Go big or go home. I mean, Darwin doesn't fail anything but wild animals. He fails those a lot. Foul. Gets the run up and stomp. Dead elf?
Nah, Macchiato is sturdy.
Macchiatos are pretty sturdy. I don't understand. I don't understand the elf naming scheme. We've got like rando elf actual names like Celador the Returned and Galarian Wind's Breath and Calbaran Starseeker, and then we have Macchiato, which I don't really understand.
No, me neither.
And sell within this
running it in a tackle zone, just stunt.
Stunting on the chaos.
Yeah, we've all had games against elves like these where it just feels like
there's no point you being
really...
no. There's no point in you being there. Like you might as well have just not fielded anybody and let the elves roll dice for 16 turns, because it wouldn't have changed the outcome of the game really. Like there was very little strategic you could do to stop the elves from just doing whatever they wanted. There's certainly a few things, right? But a lot of them would have made like the game might have been 3-2 instead of 3-0 or 3-1 instead of 3-0 like it is now. Like the 1-in-9able block, for example. Stuff like that. But it's not going to make it not a loss. However, we did get to watch the one-turner die, which I think makes this entire game worth it. Thanks for taking one for the team, buddy.
There's a lot of elfy nonsense.
That's
now
true.
We have Vamps versus Death Roller to look for.
I'm excited. I really hope it's not boring, but I'm really excited for Vamps versus Death Roller. Yeah, I maintain that High Elves are the Nurgle of elf teams, in that, like, if they're good, they're disgusting. Like, a really high TV, really good Nurgle team is incredible, and a really good, really high TV elf, like high elf team, is ridiculous. Like but at 1000 TV, definitely not the greatest of their class. But I maintain that high elves are the Nurgle of Agi.
Fair. Darwin.
I think a lot of that is just the catchers being strength 3, because you can do some such nonsense with movement 8, strength 3 players.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
If they get good levels, like some stats or whatever.
Like, they're great with doubles, they're great.
There you go. Travel Scrabble agreeing. And so does Travel Scrabble's 9-year-old. So I'm very glad to know that my opinions on Blood Bowl are similar to a 9-year-old's.
No, he explained it to his 9-year-old.
Oh, right. Sorry. I misread that.
Your opinions on Blood Bowl are the same as Travel Scrabble's.
Which I'm okay with.
Of course, now he can pick the ball up.
Now you can do it. Stupid Heisenberg. I'm surprised your 9-year-old asked you about Blood Bowl. Oh, yeah.
Sometimes I'm at parties, Caloric, and people will be like, oh, well, what do you do? And you're like, what's your hobby? And I'm like, oh, well, I help run a gaming league. And they're like, that's pretty nerdy. And I'm like, oh,
just you wait. No, I do the same thing, right? I'm like, oh yeah, I stream pretty frequently. And people are like, oh yeah, what do you stream? Like a stupid goblin football game? Like, what?
Yeah. I'm like, have you ever heard of Warhammer? And they're like, no, because they go out.
They go outside.
I'm like, okay, well. And then I have to kind of like be like, okay, here's Warhammer Fantasy, here's Warhammer Fantasy Football. And by that point, they've run out of the room and my virginity is reformed.
It's regrown. Yeah. I normally sort of go, it's fantasy football, but when I say fantasy, I mean orcs and elves and stuff, not like, regular fantasy football.
There was some rejoicing. There was also some commentary on your elves being disgusting and annoying.
and how like this game was over from like turn 5, and there's almost nothing Tessa could have really done. But you know,
That feels like I'm like proud of it. Travel Scrabble. I actually just normally don't talk about it because outside of like really nerdy circles, no one's gonna know what the fuck I'm talking about, and it's just gonna be more work than it's like, you know.
all my friends are giant dorks though, so like it kind of works out generally.
Sure, but my friends are either like giant dorks or like, I don't know, you know, weird. Anyway, whatever. They're not all huge dorks, at least in the sense that they will understand that, especially about like a party, meeting new people or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, you remember when you were like you're a kid and you were reading, and some like family member you don't know very well and don't like very well comes up to you and it's like, "What book are you reading?" And you just kind of like look up at them and you like mentally think about, of course you mentally think, all the work it would be to explain to them what the book is, and you're just like, it's a fantasy book, and they're like Lord of the Rings, and you're like, yeah.
Yes. How much emotional like effort is this going to take on my part to explain this to like my uncle Steve,
who doesn't give a fuck?
Yeah, and then is it worth it to like bother? And then you're like, nah, it's a book, you know. Like, how much emotional effort is it going to take to explain like your
Zacath the Return goes down,
your weird fantasy Blood Bowl game to some rando on the street or in the bar or whatever?
Did Emily just scream normies?
Yeah, she said. I said to a rando person in the bar or whatever, and she said a normie.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't usually explain my Blood Bowl playing on dates.
My manager knows about it. Like, I've talked to my like direct like person I report to at work. Like,
yeah, I've mentioned it to people I've worked with as well. But they have like really weird views on what I do because they're like, all right, Justin's a huge dork.
Oh, I mean, so is my manager is me, but a year older. Like, it's like he's very into the same sort of things.
Yeah, but like my office is like filled with a bunch of, like, as you'd expect, like, you know, middle-aged office worker people. So they know that I am very nerdy, and they know that I'm like poly. So they're like, Justin is a huge nerd who never leaves his house, but when he does leave his house, they're like, he only goes out to have orgies or something. Like, they have this really bizarre.
those are the only two things you do are do nerdy shit at home or orgies somewhere else. Those are the only two things.
They have like this like totally incongruent idea of me where they're like, oh yeah, Justin, that basement dwelling nerd. Also, what a
extreme. Einstein picks up the MVP and Guardian picks up the MVP, which will actually level that Agi 5 elf, which is kind of cool. So we'll
guess what he got?
Agi?
Leap.
Oh, Leap. Okay, I was excited for Agi. But Agi 5 Leap makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's now he can get an assist in there even if you put guard on the corners.
Yep, because he can just leap that guard in on a 2+. Fuck you, everyone else, because we're elves. You don't get to have fun. All right, let's bring up the title screen so we don't spoil anything, and we can go to Div 2 to watch the game. The mute cube? Do you mean meat cube?
Mute cube.
I mean, so when I'm at work, there's exactly one person I talk to, and it's my like direct manager, because there's like 4 people on my team, and for the most part, we're not allowed to talk about what we do to anybody else. So I get to sit in my corner and not talk to anybody, and it's pretty great. Where am I trying to find this?
Oh, we're going right into the other game, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm not like strutting around work being like, I love orgies. Like, I'm not like the orgy guy. Like, I'm not like morally.
I really want you to just have the word orgy like tattooed in big letters on your chest, and you walk around the office naked. Like,
when I say I'm poly, that's what they hear. Like, it doesn't matter. That's not the reality. Like,
yeah. I'm the orgy guy. Speaking of meat cubes, I'm the orgy guy.
And then they like get a couple of drinks in them at the Christmas party, and then they start asking me like weirdly personal questions about what that means, and I'm like, I've heard this like 10,000 times. Really
the best part about this is you work in a porn office. You think they'd be like a little more open to some things like that.
Most porn is pretty. Anyway.
I mean, you think that like the sort of, well, I guess I was going to say, you'd think that like sex work community would be a little more like, you know, understanding of certain things, but it's not. It's middle-aged people working in an office.
Yeah, it's really intentionally removed from the actual sex workers. I mean, like, we are just the super corporate and everything else is like contracted work.
Yeah, that's fair. I understand how that works.
I have many porn t-shirts. I have a commemorative something anniversary of Brazzers. I think it's 10 years. And it has like a timeline of all the subsites on the back, and some of them are truly outstanding.
One of the the Pornhub like yearly statistics that you guys put out are the best thing ever, and I love them so much. Like, I look forward to it every year, seeing like the year in review by Pornhub. It's incredible. So whoever does that, like, they have my compliments.
I know who it is.
Okay, I love those people. They're ridiculous. It's so good. My like some of the good ones this year were like
you didn't pause at the start. Okay, I see.
Oh, sorry. I'm just watching the setup. I can here. I'll go back to the start.
Okay.
Ready?
We'll both go back to the very start. Yeah, ready.
3, 2, 1, go. The I'm going to continue my story.
I was going to talk about Blood Bowl, but yeah, it's fine. You do you.
Oh, it's not playing for me. Why is it not doing
break
that?
It?
There we go. It fixed. Don't worry about it.
I'm
it's
at
good.
The coin toss.
Oh, they're setting up right now. So
okay, we're good. It's fine. Whatever.
The breakdown by like most searched like term by country is great, because almost every like country, it's their language. Like the most searched terms in France are like French, Francais, France, right? The most searched terms in Germany are like, you know, German, Deutsch, Germany, whatever. The most searched term in Ukraine is just the word sex. like, please give sex.
Travel, you would think this, but I would like to draw your attention to the death roller called "It's the Coltrane Baby" in all caps. That might.
Okay, it's Death Roller Dwarves versus Vampires, and it's Luminous's Vampires. So I don't really care what you think.
Brutal. A minute ago, you were like, "I'm so glad I agree with Travel Scrabble on descriptions to his 9-year-old."
I would like to point out that this Death Roller, look at these skills. It's piling on, block, grab, guard, mighty, or multiple block.
Blitzes immediately with it for a vamp. He's gonna follow, and he's gonna pile on.
Got him. I really hope he doesn't pile on, because that's a stun. Oh, we double skull immediately, and he's marking up a bunch of players right now. This Death Roller is incredible. Like, 100% of why we're watching this game is because this Death Roller exists, just so everyone's aware. Okay, well, we do have the ball on one of the passing dwarves. The other passing dwarf is up here, because there are more than one.
I'm gonna hate this.
I love this team. Love everything about it.
I also love this team. I love hate.
It's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
You ironically love this team, or ironically hate this team. Take your pick.
I love to hate it. I hate to love it.
Accurate. Well, we do find a KO on the on a leveled thrall, which is certainly a reasonable way that dwarves can.
It is a level 3 or 4 thrall even, with Agi 2.
And taking away the blood sacks as dwarves when you have so much mighty blow and block and stuff is going to limit the options of the vampires quite severely. So it's certainly a reasonable strategy to take, is just target the thralls at all costs. Incoming vamp, Vladimir Putin.
He gets a 1 on his bloodlust and then a 1 on the pro. So good thing he didn't reroll it.
Good job. Well, we'll just bite somebody. It's fine. We're going to bite the stunned guy. Although he did dodge after failing the bloodlust, and if that was also a 1, things could have been poorly. But, I mean,
it would have to have been a snake, right?
Yeah, so it would have had to have been 4 1s in a row, which would have been impressive.
Yeah, it would have been a turnover and a loss. Well, losing a vamp is always a turnover.
Yeah, the vampires, like, it's a little bit less of a problem for these vampires because they have so much reliability in terms of, like, all of them have blodge, 2 of them have pro. The bloodlust is less likely to cause a problem, But if you just remove the thralls who
I
are,
love that he just blitzes with the Coltrane every turn.
it's great. Who are you might
Like,
be a little bit ahead.
He blitzed onto Blodge. I am a little bit ahead. I'll pause. I love it though. Anyway,
Here he goes, Coltrane baby.
I played Vamps in my round 1 game, which I thought was going to be great because I was playing rats against rookie vampires, and they bloodlusted first action, and then they didn't bloodlust again until turn 14, which was unfortunate. And I tied, which is like losing.
Yeah, it's a relatively good matchup for the vampires, honestly, and
against dwarves, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, slow teams like vampires are slow, so a team that they can keep up with is nice.
Bloodlust.
Hypnogaze works though.
Hypnoed him uselessly and then punched him into an injury.
No
mighty blow. Oh, I'm sorry.
Here's the injury. Injured.
String 4 guy was going to be armor busted, but got better.
Yeah, my strategy playing against Vamps is generally always like make them roll as many bloodlusts as possible and give them few options. Like if they fail a bloodlust, they could be in trouble.
Like there was both times I kicked the ball to him, he got high kicks into a kick that was landing like midfield, and the Vamp caught it. So like he just never had to roll bloodlust, and he never had to move into the backfield. So there's just like so much less chance for like ratty nonsense on top of like not bloodlusting.
The Lumi's vampires have so much like block, dodge, and pro though that their 4 rerolls can be used for bloodlust pretty frequently.
Trying to GFI a hit on the ball here.
Juggernaut though.
Can't take the ball away though.
No, unfortunately.
That's a brave place for that vampire to be.
But taking away the blood bags certainly will like limit some of their options, because a lot of good vampire players will plan for the bloodlust failure and like, you know, move a thrall to where they want to go just in case. And sometimes you can force them to play without that if you remove enough thralls.
Dauntless doing a thing there.
Troll Slayer doing a thing there. Just a stun. You get to see the Coltrane in the background though.
Was fun.
Always Coltrane all the time. I haven't seen multiple block yet. I'm disappointed.
Well, he keeps blitzing with him. You can't blitz and multi-block. It's a pinned comment in the advice channel.
Is it really?
Yes. Because at some point someone asked if you could do it, and like 14 people answered the exact same thing in what was quickly just becoming a meme. Oh, Coltrane baby takes another very broken thrall out.
There are so many skills on this death roller that you just can't see his portrait when you click on him.
It completely covers the runner behind him.
Well, you just click on the death roller too, and his whole face is just vibrating behind a wall of skills.
1 and 9 for this blitzer to get out. So that is a fairly open cage. Open concept, you know. It is going to be hard for the Vamps to get around to hit this, I think. No, they've got the plus movement guy.
No, he's just going to stand up and then just go in, and he has a 1 die right now. If that Hypnogaze worked, it would have been a 2 die. Oh, it is a 2 die. Why is it a 2 die? Oh, that Vamp is plus strength.
Yep. Didn't matter, though. Didn't get it. Didn't even get the push for the Frenzy, though the Frenzy, of course, would have been an enormous Frenzy trap.
I love everything about this game so far. There's another Bloodlust. So we have to dodge out, which works.
We have to dodge out, and we have to get onto this guy. Though, you might be saving him from a worse injury, really. He was based up on a bunch of Mighty Blow.
Oh, well, Tuna Salad is KO'd. I love this game. I don't even know what this... I'm not paying attention to strategy whatsoever.
Insta-blitz with the Coltrane. He's just like praying for that POW. He really wants the meme kill.
I've had too many beers, and I'm just like giggling about vampires and no food, actually.
Some food?
Sure.
Seems like a poor decision. Dwarves, Jesus, that took a lot. Reconsolidating a bit here in the middle. Not willing to score. Doesn't re-roll it, which I don't think is fair, because now you're going to get hypno-gazed.
Yeah.
And you can always get hypno-gazed, I guess, but...
And yeah, now I'm just giggling about dwarves and vampires and having a good time instead of actually offering any sort of strategic insight. But, you know, that's fair.
Okay, we're going to try to hypno this corner off.
So far, we have failed.
They're just failing at each other aggressively. I don't know if... Trying again?
Nobody's going to score. Nope.
Okay.
Nobody can do anything. Everybody sucks. No fun allowed.
Rolling a lot of dice. Gotta work eventually, right?
I like the vampire dice logs at the end of games where they've rolled like 7 million d6.
Dodge does it then.
Dodge. Not dodge, but he made it out anyway. Coltrane! Round Action 1, Death Roller Blitz.
He got the POW. I wonder if we're gonna be piling on.
Got him! He's dead! Good job, Coltrane. Let's keep...
It's fine.
Apo used. I'm so glad we watched
It's what
this.
he's been waiting for this entire fucking game. Every turn. Turn 1.
Regen failure.
Action 1 immediately blitzes with the Coltrane. And you
Blitz-
thought this would suck, Travel Scrabble? What a fool you are.
Blitz a vampire with the Death Roller. Turn 1 every turn. Or Action 1 every turn.
I mean, I literally did the same thing a sentence ago. So, yeah, that was beautiful. Thank you for that, Oververt.
Perfect. Oververt is my new favorite. I'm so
Why
happy
didn't he
right now.
block this thrall?
I don't care.
All right, Baker, get out of here.
Maybe a little
Now
bit.
has a based cage quarter for no particular reason.
Who cares? It's
I
the
don't,
Coltrane,
I don't
baby.
think Oververt cares. Hey, he
It's-
succeeded the pro only to fail the bloodlust again that time. Oh, failed snake, or not snake to dodge, failed the dodge.
Well, we did snake the dodge.
There's the snake to dodge. What the fuck is this game?
It was a good call to watch this game.
It's
It's turn 6. You know, there's so
I
much
know.
more fun to come.
I can't believe the Coltrane just straight up murdered that vampire.
They're just failing at each other for 16 turns.
You know
and I
what
love
that
every
was?
second.
That was him trying to free up It's the Coltrane, baby, again, to come in and blitz this other vampire.
Here he goes. 3 die on a thrall. Oh, just a push.
And it's Fen, so he can't actually follow up. Oh, it's grab. He could have pushed that somewhere better, but whatever.
Still haven't seen multi-block.
Whatever.
That's all I want. I want multi-block. He might.
No
This
one cares.
is a
This is negligibly safe.
this is a death roller who could hit legend.
Look, you know what Oververt just keeps? He's just like, I'm just gonna keep making base cages until you nut up and succeed a hypno game. He feels bad for him at this point. He's just like, all right, I don't.
You know, whatever.
Good
Just
things
you
keep
go.
happening if I base these vampires in my cage. So,
Hey,
he got
hypno
one.
gaze.
It was a meaningless one, but he got it. He made the block afterwards. It's the second time. I think the only hypno gazes he succeeded are the ones he did on players he then immediately blocked. So it's a surprising amount of fend on these teams. I have seen fend go off an awful lot.
Fend. Well,
Fend is a fair skill.
Fend is a pretty good like lino skill.
Oh, hey, that's 2 hypno gazes. Oh, failed the dodge though.
Rerolls it. He's good. Hey, in we go. And we get to punch the runner. Down he goes. This is what happens when, like, you know, hypnogaze and stuff does things that it's supposed to. Can this vamp get the ball? He can make the bloodlust. He can dodge. He can pick up the ball. He can run away. Good job, vampire.
Do you huck it? Is my question.
Yes, says Lumi. But he fails it. But he pros it. And it works. But he fails it again.
It was gonna be an enact. Oh no, it was a fail. I can't tell you how much I love this game.
It worked. It didn't work. It didn't work again. It worked. It didn't work.
Because there's so much re-rolling that happens, and it doesn't matter at all. We might as well not have pro or re-rolls. They're a waste of time. It's the Coltrane. Oh, it doesn't get it.
Grab, canceling, sidestep, and not crashing the game.
Runner. Well, one of the passing runners picks up the ball. All right.
Coltrane threatening to surf a vampire.
Sidestep. Oh, I guess it doesn't grab.
He has grab, which cancels
It's worth
sidestep.
noting the existence of this.
Fend cancels frenzy, but doesn't matter. He's stunned.
The fat dwarf gets him. To say that this ball is not safe would be, again, okay, that helps a little bit.
Did he
All right,
not
Vamps.
activate the Hypnogaze Longbeard?
He did not know. It's just sitting there uselessly.
Why did he just not say activate?
Because Oververt doesn't play this game like you and I play this game.
Here we go, another 2 die on the totally unsafe cage. And we find it again. Fen cancels the following. Where does the ball go? The runner's injured. Doesn't matter.
I mean, when the Vamps have knocked down these dwarfs, they've gotten good armor breaks, so that was an armor 7 dwarf, so.
Tries to pro it, doesn't work. Fails to dodge! Ugh! Death Roller can't pick up the ball because he got no hands. And, you know, we all just cry. That was a snake's dodge too, because that wasn't off tackle. So that was just another snake's dodge.
No, it was a 3+ dodge, though. So it was a 2 into a 1.
Okay, well, it's snaked in colloquial terms.
Every turn. Click.
Click
Death Roller.
Well,
that was even a GFI with the Death Roller.
Dwarves also fail to dodge.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh my god. Surf a dwarf! Fuck it. Who cares? I don't care anymore. This game is so stupid. Dwarf! Punch him!
Was that a dodge he needed to do?
No!
Okay. Just check. I just thought I'd check. I lost track. It felt like a dodge he didn't need to do.
I lost track of this game 4 turns ago.
I love that every time I hear you talk, I hear the sound of you aggressively putting a beer down.
Yep.
Dorf. Just Dorf things.
Well, vampire gets the ball. Gives it to another vampire. Hey, he did a thing.
Passes it. Just.
Well, it's a vanity pass. The half's over.
Oh, it's also. I forgot that it was turn 8. Alright, well, this shit show sorts itself out. I'm gonna go get more tea.
Okay. I'm gonna stuff some pasta in my mouth while we're waiting for the KO animations to play. Well, now we get to be sad because the coal train got sent off. Goodbye, coal train. I suppose, to be fair, the activating a Hypnogaze player is not obvious because it's like the only situation. Well, not quite the only situation, because there's also a player who really stupided last turn who you don't want to move, but don't want to be really stupid anymore. But those are the 2 situations in which activating a player to do nothing with them is a reasonable thing to do. So it's not unreasonable that somebody wouldn't really know that you could do that. Because there's only really 2 situations that works. Like, after you've been hypnogazed, or after your big guy has failed their big guy trait, and you want their tackle zones to be active again, but you don't want to move them. Mm-hmm. Really stupid, or bonehead, or whatever.
Perfect defense for the dwarves here is really nice, of course.
Unfortunately, no more Coltrane.
No bribe. I think he's got a bribe stadium for him, but not for...
Yeah, but he's not in the right stadium.
Interesting, he doesn't go all mans. I think he's right. He doesn't have a ton of guard because he's weird dwarves. But even so, I think drawing the Vamps into a punch fest was probably in his best interest.
Yeah.
Mighty Blow hit coming here, gets a break.
Some of the Vamps have, the Vamps have regen, but the Thralls don't, and you have Armor 9 and Thick Skull pretty much everywhere, so a drawn-out fight is more than likely
your
to play your
punches
advantage.
are always going to be more reliable, for sure. Just a push on the rookie Longbeard.
He's okay. Everything's fine.
Gonna potentially Vanity Pass here with this guy. No, I think he wants to score on him.
He's 10 SPP. Well, you also generally want to... A lot of Vamps coaches will carry on the Thralls when they can because they don't have to roll Bloodlusts.
Yeah, and plus movement is a good skill to build up on.
Yeah. And you don't have to roll Bloodlust, so you're more reliable to do the score if you need to.
Why base up this turn if you... why not just base up last turn? Oververt, you confuse me.
I don't care. He has a Death Roller.
I agree, but you you confuse me nonetheless.
Yeah, we didn't go all mans with the perfect D, but we do go all mans turn 1.
Why is your guard piece there and not? It's fine. It's fine.
Vampire.
Hey, look, failed some more things. Goes into blitz him anyway. This is very much the you hypno gaze because you can, not because you need to.
Yeah.
Mighty blow on armor 8, not getting her done.
Hypnogaze cannot turn over if you fail it, so if you end next to somebody, you might as well.
Throw more dice. Clears those ones out of the dice log. That's how dice work.
They do work that way, actually.
Interesting.
Potato vamp.
This is un petit patate.
A small potato. Isn't it palm, though? No, it's apple.
Palm is apple, yes.
Pomme de terre, though, is potato.
It is, yes.
But I feel like petit pomme de terre would be an awkward sentence.
It doesn't have quite the same.
Yeah, it's not the same gravitas.
I did also say it in a stupid French accent, which makes it better than,
That's fair.
using the wrong word.
Un petite potato.
The student food co-op at Concordia is called the People's Potato, which I enjoy as a name.
It's so very like Cold War Soviet communist.
Yes, well, I don't know if you've ever been to Concordia, but
But it's
it's more socialist than communist, but yes.
I'm thinking like Cold War like Baltic countries that aren't Russia.
I know what you're saying.
Like Latvia or whatever, ex-Russian places.
The Iron Curtain.
These are the places behind the Iron Curtain. This is the people's potato. It belongs to the village. Well, dwarves going like the all mans, meaning that we can't. There's like 4 dwarves kind of being useless in the middle of the field here, and it's because they couldn't get any further because they're dwarves. And now we get to punch some stuff as Lumi, and we've got a 2+.
Well, a 1 and 9able block into a 2+, but yes.
He could just take the 2+ to dodge out if he didn't really care about scoring this turn.
Snaked the Bloodlust, so he cannot score.
Oh, no, he cannot, because now we're gonna have to bite someone. The good news is your ball is generally pretty safe on a blodge sidestep strength 4 player, regardless of the number of assists you have nearby.
Irregardless, yes.
Irregardless is not a word. Regardless of the number of assists you have nearby.
Oh, Lumi failed another thing.
He did.
Okay, so you can get a 1 die. Can you get a 2 die? I don't think so.
Not without... No, I don't think so, because dwarves are slow. But you can 1 die with tackle.
You can get a 1 die pretty easy, yeah, with tackle. So, a 5+, casual, like.
You're regardless in your grammatical errors lizard clan team.
I don't think that's a grammatical error, really, though. It's like a...
syntax error?
It gets the pow.
Oh, you're ahead.
Sorry, I paused even. Oh,
gets the pow.
And also...
he's injured.
He's fine, though. He got better.
Yeah, he did get better.
And a perfect scatter for the Dwarves. Well, perfect scatter until they 1 and 9 the pickup, and then, everything goes to hell.
The new clanmate we have and the new team they made is named Gentleman, and they just look like people's names, and one of them is my own name, like my own real life last name, is one of the players, and when I saw that, it was very weird.
Does he know your name?
I don't think so. There's no reason. I mean, if he did,
like your full name or just your last name?
No, it's just my last name, so it's just probably in common with some famous person.
Your last name is reasonably common.
In certain areas, yeah. It's not terribly common in Canada, but it's kind of common in some parts of England. And I suppose he is G-man based.
Could 3+1 die scatter the ball? Hope it goes out. I don't really know what Lumi's game plan is here. Try not to cry a lot.
Yeah, I mean...
It is what he's going for, and he fails the dodge.
Yeah. Well, the good news is, I mean, the ball is 4 squares away from the dwarf zone, and the dwarves are slow.
But he gets the scatter. If it goes out, this could be big. It doesn't go out.
Nope, it goes into the worst possible spot. I guess tied with diagonally from it, but yeah. At least if it was diagonally.
I mean, I think the worst spot would have been into the blitzer's hands, but yeah, pretty nearly.
Yeah, about as near as it could be to awful. I like how the Troll Slayer has like a fistful of rings. It's like brass knuckles made of jewelry. Incoming unsafe cage.
Name a more iconic duo. Shadorra and Orgies. Overburden-based cage.
Are we not activating the blitzer down here as Hypnogaze? We're not safe.
I think we don't know how this works, yeah. I think we've established this.
Yeah, we can Hypnogaze the Troll Slayer and then just in we go. Hypnogaze works. So in we go.
Bloodlust does not, though, and that's a big deal because he can't end up next to. Or he can, but he has to dodge. If he fails to dodge and falls down, he can't bite, right? Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
He now has to dodge out and get next to someone. Oh, but he needs to do one more. Oh, he fails the GFI. You have to do this, or he gets ejected. Hey, he didn't snake something for once.
Nice. And the ball didn't scatter to a great position, unfortunately.
The ball is medium, I'd say. That's a medium ball.
It could be medium rare. It could be worse, but it's still in 2 tackle zones, so it's not pick-upable. Never mind, he did it.
What kind? This is why you never win games, Ben. You don't take risks.
No, it's true.
You're like, that's a 4+. I can't try this 4+.
It took me playing Bretonians in 1 Minute League to start trusting 3+ as dice that I were allowed to roll.
I still try not to roll 3+ way too often, and I'm playing rats right now, so like that's something I've got to get over.
Yeah, I'm the same way. A 3+ might as well be a 0% chance of working. But we get a touchdown for the vampires, and it's going to be pretty difficult for the dwarves to, I mean, they have 4 turns, but 4 turns as dwarves isn't as many as you'd like. Dwarves are pretty slow, and vampires are fairly good at defense because of the Hypnogaze. Like, they're pretty good at slowing down forward progression, especially from slow teams. It's, as we've seen several times, it's not terribly difficult for vampires to just, Hypnogaze a cage corner, block a player, and then you instantly steal 1 turn from your opponent because they have to spend a turn recovering from that. And with only 4 turns, suddenly you're in a rough position as the dwarves here.
Yeah, I mean, 4 turns to score is not impossible, but vampires are very good at being on defense and making your life hell.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes for the risky backfield kick, and it goes out, so this does backfire pretty spectacularly.
We could just touch back this right to a further up blitzer.
Probably would have gone for the blodge blitzer, yeah. There's no strip balls, so there's no reason not to give it to someone who's farther up.
Yeah, I mean, well, to be fair, I guess that runner is movement. Is he plus movement, minus movement?
Yes, he is.
Never mind
We've
that.
discussed him before.
I was going to say he's movement 7, so he can get pretty far up, but he's not. He's movement 6.
Still, it's not terrible. You can create a lot of space, I think.
If this was a more guard-heavy dwarf team, I would say go all man, slam those guard right up against those vampires and make them sad.
Slam that guard in there.
Yeah, just shove that guard right in there. But they're not, so you can't really do that. You're just going to get hypnoed and punched down if you try to do that. So you have to play this a slightly different way. But with that much guard, you know, the vampires are going to have to roll hypnogazes. If you had a lot of guard, the vampires would have to roll a lot of hypnogazes or bloodlusts even.
What do we say to guard on the same side of a cage? Not today.
This is better.
No, not really. He does have the third one. Vamps can get in here pretty easily. Doesn't choose to, though. Instead goes and punches at trolls.
Well, this is probably the safest cage his cage has been all game.
That is a true statement.
Dwarf receivers.
End of sentiment.
The passing dwarves are available to do some passing to the receivers. Falafel is KO'd.
Not falafel.
Falafel is delicious.
Great falafel is indeed. It is often maligned, I find. I went to a fancy Lebanese joint that my boss took us to, and they had like the most delightful falafel.
I find even like bad falafel is at worst acceptable.
That's so dry. I don't agree.
Well, as long as you have like a sauce.
Are we going for the most based cage in the world?
As long as you have like a sauce of some kind, you can. The worst falafel can be is dry, really, and you can like sauce it some way, and then it solves that.
Oh, he's made 1 square of progress this turn, guys. I think he's gonna make it.
4 turns. Yeah, it's a problem with dwarves.
It's not the most based cage, and I'm disappointed a little bit. Ooh, dodge guy going for a run. That is too far. Those dwarves are too far.
It is not too far. The runner has pass. Cat,
right, your player, kill yourself on a skull. No, that's not.
My cat is bumping into my microphone.
Your cat is a doofus.
She is a doofus. Troll Slayer.
All right, how safe is this ball? Not.
Yeah. Not particularly.
Hypno this corner. Hypno, or even just base this guy. Go in.
Hypno corner. Base this guy by standing up the thrall. Go in. Hypno works. Yeah. So now you just stand up the.
2-die. Yeah. You can't do it with the tackle piece because he is on the ground. Do you have to do a hit on blodge with no tackle?
Yeah, it's a 2-die though.
Yeah, it's not the worst. Oh, he is going with this guy. He's just gonna do a GFI, I guess. That makes sense. 2 GFIs.
4-5.
And it's worth it.
Excellent. Vampires. Tackle Juggernaut. Injury. No, he's just stunned.
He's fine.
Oh, back to the vampire. I don't know. Damn. I mean, yeah, and this is what I said when this drive started, really, is the vampires are so good at just wasting a turn, right? Like, doing something like this just means the dwarves' entire next turn is basically about, you know...
One last snake for the road. Snake into KO.
Oh, God. The dwarves' entire next turn, if this was not turn 15, would be like, recover the ball, get it safe. Vampires are really good at just saying, that turn you have, you know, it's gone now. I'm stealing it.
Right, so I don't think he knows you can activate things, so I don't think he's going to know you can activate this guard piece that's in a pretty good spot. Correct. And he pays for it.
Yeah.
Could have had a 2-die there.
Vampires are so good at, like, just wasting your time and eating up turns. So they're...
This feels like 1 Minute League where Oververt is playing with a handicap.
Doesn't know you can activate players. I mean, like, I'm not, like, to be fair, it's a niche thing that only comes up when you either play with particular big guys or...
I'm not surprised he doesn't know.
Or play against vampires, and neither of those things you do very often as dwarves.
Okay, that break is pretty good. It means this blitzer is fairly alone. He can be based by...
yeah, and it's another thrall gone, so fewer options. We have a shot. Oh, we scald.
1 shot to blow. This opportunity comes.
Once in a lifetime.
I mean, it must be said this cage is a little based.
A little?
It's also a little bit not a cage.
I mean, So this vampire has that 2+ to die the ball, right? He dodges out and then hits it, and that's it.
Could even, yeah, you can hypnogaze. You don't even need to do that. Oh, Bloodlusts. Doesn't care about that, though. Gets the POW anyway. Can't follow because he would then lose the Vamp. Oh, alright. Rip. So that guy's actually dead.
Oh, you're ahead again. Oh, well, the Blitzer, or the Longbeard, the Dodge Longbeard is dead. That's annoying, because that's like one of 2 guard on the team.
I think there are 3 guard, but yes.
One of them is the Death Roller, so he's like half guard.
No, 4 guard, I think, including the Death Roller. Because I saw a cage of 4 guard dwarves a minute ago.
Fish and Chips is stunned.
Fish and chips.
Well, it's like there is
Tuna salad has KO'd himself.
there is a scoring threat, but it involves a pickup and a pass from a Longbeard, so this is not exactly likely.
Or an Agi 1 Troll Slayer. Or movement 4 Troll Slayer.
Longbeard just gets it. Easy.
He doesn't have a reroll. This isn't actually that far-fetched. Never mind.
Well, now we try the pass. No.
4+? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 4+, but we failed.
Scatters out into the Blitzer's hands? No. That would have been spicy.
And that'll be game.
1-0 for the Vamps. It was a game.
It was.
Oh, right. It says the Vamps out armor broke the trolls, or the dwarves, but that's because it counts their own armor breaks.
Yeah, vampires are wrong.
Vampires are wrong.
Generally. I wonder, what were our predictions for that?
I think we predicted the Vamps would win because
we did.
Yeah.
And
we also predicted the
High Elves would win against the Chaos.
The Chaos, and they did, yeah.
All right. So let's go take a look at the other games from Div 1 and see how they turned out. We had Volcano versus Battle Brothers, which was Bretts versus the Chorfs. I predicted the Chorfs, you predicted the Bretts, and the Chorfs won.
Damn it. I mean, I'm not surprised, but damn it.
68 blocks from the Chorfs, 7 injuries.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yep.
7 injuries on 15 armor breaks is a thing.
That's true.
MVP to the plus strength blocker is nice. Getting him guard is going to be a big deal for that team for sure. I hope that he still has a team after 7 injuries, but we'll see. A lot of blocks sustained, but sometimes it happens with Bretts. You get a little too caught up in the fight.
Wizarded ball carrier and ball flew into the hands of a hobgoblin. Disappointing.
Classic.
Archangel's Will versus the Rowdy Rebel Rousers. We predicted that the Wood Elves would take this, and we were wrong. Atomex taking it down over Archangel's Will. He who catches unseen getting the MVP, unfortunately, because...
And an injury? No, he'd already been injured.
Yeah.
This is nothing new.
But so it's a waste of SPP. But 2 deaths sustained by Archangel's Will, but considering that team's about 3 players, they're probably just loners.
Probably, but yeah, it looks like 31 blocks, he suffered 8 removals, and 5 of them were Kaz, and 2 were deaths. So it just like was a game where he crumpled. Really,
this is the opposite of the Chaos High Elf game we watched, where the Elves were the team that couldn't really do anything because the Nurgle just made them not exist too quickly.
Yep.
But they did manage to get a touchdown out of it, so very likely just sort of 2-1 grind with enough players removed to make the counter score not very feasible.
We watched the Elf versus Chaos nonsense, and then we have the Grungy Desserts versus the murdery Space Elf troop. The Dark Elves lost 2-1 versus Nurgle. We did predict the Nurgle, so that is 8 points.
It is. Stolen in the way, picking up MVP and leveling barely off of it, which is nice. Didn't get a double or anything though, so now he's just got grab because that's the only other skill that you can bother taking on a Beast of Nurgle with only normals.
Boring. Another one of those 34 blocks, succeeded 12 removals, so Nurgle just removing Motley from the pitch.
Scooby and the Gang and All Stars of Chaos. We predicted that Scooby and the Gang would take this, and we were right. Travel Scrabble, 10 armor breaks versus 18 armor breaks. 58 blocks from the Chaos versus 28 from Travel Scrabble. But
Travel Scrabble doesn't usually get a high number of blocks. Like,
no,
him getting the crap kicked out of him is fairly standard. He usually wins because he's got that nonsense wall.
We have not yet, Big Chuck. We watched a game from 2A, but we haven't looked at results. Yeah, he generally does a lot of sniping with the sort of wolves, as it were. You know.
Are you saying he stream snipes? That's
No.
a really serious accusation to throw out like that.
I'm saying he hits particular players surgically rather than quantity
Like
wise.
a sniper might, like someone who is sitting in a stream cheating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you heard it here first.
Yeah.
Steakmittens thinks Travel Scrabble is a cheater.
Yeah, apparently.
I'm just calling it like I see it.
2-0. You know, the wolves.
Four failed
doing some
regenerations
things.
out of 4 certainly doesn't help.
Yeah, both the werewolves getting 6 SPP each. So between the removals and the scoring, that's probably that. The wolves just kind of being able to run all over the chaos, which is pretty much what I thought would happen. As long as the Agi 5 wolf exists, he can kind of score when he wants to. And other than that, we just slap 1 or 2 players down a turn with the other werewolf. And
he did lose apparently the death is that he lost a golem.
Oh, okay.
So that is, he's finally paid the golem tax.
I
think you were overdue. You versus Bo with Quadadol, and we predicted you would lose, and you did.
I lost to 2 elves. There were two elves on the field, and one of them was a thrower, and one of them was like the scoring threat, and he scored with it. But it was on like turn 15.
Yeah, that's really funny. You inflicted with blocks 3 KOs and 2 injuries, and he sustained 4 KOs and 7 casualties. Did you just foul him?
No, look at his GFIs. Look at his GFIs in the dice roll, on the dice log.
Good on GFIs, but okay.
No, look at his.
And he just killed himself.
Like 3 of those injuries were him failing his own GFIs, and then like 2 of them were fouls. So I removed his team down to 2 elves and got 5 SPP on a rotter for it because of MVP.
Sounds about right. There was a death in this game too. I think it was this was just a lineman, right?
Yeah, just a regular old elf that no one cares about. No, it's the strength 5 guy.
The double niggled strength 5 guy.
Yeah.
He busted as well, I think, but anyway.
Yeah, it was, the loss here was me being rusty. Like, I forgot about sidestep and fend a couple times, having not played this team in a while, and I probably would have won it if I had remembered those skills existed. But it was a really good game.
One material.
Yeah, it was a really good game, and it was a great game to get me used to Blood Bowl again. You know, in like hard punishes from a lot of things. So it was definitely a good welcome back game. The biggest thing I think was I had his ball on the thrower on my beast, and I was like, cool, free 3 die on the ball carrier, and then forgot the ball carrier had fend, and then he was just off tentacles. He still had to make a couple 3+s to dodge out of the other players nearby, but if I just left him on the beast, he would have had to do tentacles as well. So I think that was the biggest mistake I made. But yeah, 2-1 or 1-0. And then Fear and Bloating versus Ars Gotia.
We predicted that Zeta would lose because he's terrible, and he did.
I think it was more just on average Nurgle.
Nope.
You know?
Terrible.
And yeah, more injuries inflicted by the Nurgle.
It looks like the Chaos just couldn't get anything done. They got 7 breaks and 1 KO versus, you know, the pummeling they were taking on the other side. Didn't even get to roll regen. Like, regen didn't even matter.
Yeah, Red Joker, you're welcome. I killed him. In fact, about halfway through the game, he said, I think this is the game that's going to cause me to clean up my roster. He hasn't yet, but you'll note that the strength 5 guy is gone from this team. And I think the
natty one turner is still there.
I think I was going to say, I think the only reason I had a chance in that game is because his natty one turner was MNG'd for our game, which made it quite a bit easier for me.
You have talked about your game too long.
I mean, we're done.
You're cut off. You went back to it.
We're done this whole division.
After not talking about the Nurgle and Chaos for more than 20 seconds.
I remember my own game very well. The Nurgle just out armor break the Chaos in this part.
Look at the leaderboard.
I am.
Not much to say at this point. Lots of people picked up wins. There weren't a lot of ties in Div 1.
There's been one so far, and it was my game this week, not last week.
Yes, it's true. You guys occupying the middle of the leaderboard very, very seriously.
Yep. But yeah, so we got, half the div with wins and half the div with losses. Surprise. But
Yeah.
Ramaset,
Shall
Travis
we-
Gravel, Red
shall
Joker,
we do
Atomex,
some
Mongoose,
predictions?
Stouticus, and Not for Science. Yep, we shall. Week 2, Archangel's Will versus Volcano. Well, that depends on what Archangel's team
let's
looks
look at
like.
his team.
Well, he's
It's
missing a
1080.
Drostia.
Ooh, yeah. And he's playing a bunch of Chorfs. I'm gonna say he's gonna lose and he's gonna win. Like, it's just inevitable.
I mean, that's true.
The Drastia, okay. Yes, the Drastia is fine.
Okay, well, I think the big question is inducements here.
I mean, he gets 1 billion. We
Well-
can go on REBBL.net, but it's like,
Does he?
yes.
He's 1,500 for his next game, so he gets 410. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Man. So Wizard, some star players, and having He Who Catches Unseen and Savari. Those are the 2 players that he really cares about the most. Is He Who Catches Unseen and Savari.
Well, Drastia is also the backbone of this team for sure.
I mean, it's important, but so much of this team accomplishes what it does with Savari and He Who Catches Unseen.
All right, you wanna vet? Go with Archangel, and I'll go with the Chorf.
I mean, I don't really want to, but I will. I think the Chorfs are probably going to do really well here, but it's so hard to bet against that many inducements, you know. But I guess for the sake of a controversial pick, let's go.
Then
for
we
it.
have the Battle Brothers, who are how battered? 15-20. Looks like they took a little bit of battering. The support blitzer is out and is just MNG'd. And the Mighty Blow blocker rather is movement busted, so that's unfortunate for sure. So he still has a Mighty Blow tackle piece, so that's going to be useful versus the Elf. So his team is still solid versus Ramaset's 1900 gross high Elf team that we just saw.
Griff.
He can get Griff.
He can get Griff. He can, because he has 11 players and he's 400 or 380 TV down.
He could once again roster Griff. I don't know if that's the best pickup here, but that would be an interesting game. If we were watching games, I think that would be a fun one to watch.
Yeah,
a lot of good amount of tackle for the Bretonnians. In 2, they've got like some good agi pieces to keep up, but I think all in all, I like the high elves for this.
It's very difficult to bet against the high elves, considering we just watched them like do whatever they wanted all game to a pretty serious chaos team. Yeah, the strength is like 2 agi, the strength, the leap. Yeah, I think I have to go with high elves as well.
The Reds are also going to be down a reroll. So. Oh
yeah, the Rowdy Rebel Rousers and Grungy Desserts. So we have Stouticus, we have Atomex. 2230 versus 2310.
Finally, the Nurgle teams get to punch each other and potentially remove them from my sight. Stouticus, 2230. He's a big boy.
This is going to be a huge game. 2230 versus 2310 Nurgle. Oh my god. Like,
yep. This is either going to be one of those games where everything dies or nothing is going to die.
If my experience playing Nurgle Mirrors is any indication, then there's going to be like 3 KOs and a couple regens per team and nothing dead. So
I want a firefight.
On the one hand, Stouticus has more removal potential. He's got 3 Claw Mighty Blow. On the other hand, Atomex has such high TV because he has a 16-man roster.
Yeah, 16 bench versus 13-man bench is a big deal here.
Yeah, it really is. It's huge, and there's so much ablative rotter to just throw at players. So, like, if you're removing 1 for 1, or even if your opponent is removing 1.5 to every 1 that you remove, you still come out ahead because of your huge bench.
Yeah, those Stouticus can fluff up his bench a bit. He's got 170k.
And
so
I would, if I were him, I'd totally buy a rotter.
I'd buy at least 1, yeah.
Because your 80k of inducements is going to do nothing for you. So you might as well buy a rotter and then take it to 40k, spend 10k on a babe. But it's 3 Claw Mighty Blow versus 2.
I honestly feel like this is a coin flip.
I have no idea, man. This is gonna come down to. This is gonna come down entirely to whoever gets the removals faster. So I'll take Atomex partially randomly and partially because I think 16-man bench makes a difference. But like, this game is such a coin flip. I have no idea.
Stout. It is a bit of a kaiju clash, yeah. Conspiration Anthropique versus Scooby and the Gang. Battle of the Québécois.
2 of them anyway. How many are in Div 1? Only 2? 3.
Archangel is also in Quebec, I think. He's up in Trois-Rivières or Rivière-du-Loup, one of those.
Yeah, he's up the arm near New Brunswick somewhere. One of the like smaller French towns. If I recall correctly. But yeah, so we have Tessa 2130. And we have Travel Scrabble, who's 1890, and I think that's a full roster. It is. So there's no extra nonsense happening around there. Agi5 Wolf is terrifying for Chaos. The good news is Chaos are slightly faster than Nurgle, so they're less worried about the movement than the Nurgle team would be.
Muttley the Third did go Leap for his legend skill, which I like. Agi5 Leap, of course, being
oh my god,
disgusting. That wolf is just unstoppable now. And Muttley Jr. is actually only 2 SPP away from leveling as well, where he will finally get tackle on a normal, I would imagine. I mean, any stat would be outstanding. A double probably piling on. But probably, I mean, definitely piling.
And Agi5 Frenzy Wrestle Tackle or Block Dodge Tackle Leap is pretty incredible. I think this game really, honestly, to me, comes down to Muttley. Like, if Muttley survives, he can win this game by himself. Other than that, Tessa is going to, like, chunk through the zombies pretty quickly, I think. And there's not that much else going on to stop that. You know, there's the Strength 4 White, there's the Strength 4 Werewolf, but they're going to be doing blitzing rather than getting in the way. He doesn't have the strength or guard to just sort of stand up toe-to-toe versus Tessa, but, I mean, you know, it's Chaos. You never really
especially
want to
now
do
that
that.
he's lost a Flesh Golem, yeah.
So, in the straight-up fight, Tessa will win that, but if Muttley exists and is capable of being movement 8 and Agi 5, he can win the game on his own. You know, yeah, Top Cat is great. He's Agi 4, Strength 4, but you can't beat an Agi 5 Wolf. And what does Travel Scrabble get for inducements? 10k is 1900, and then he gets a bunch.
He gets Cheney if he wants it.
Yeah.
Cheney a wizard even.
Why is Div 1 so hard? Like, all of these are hard to predict. I don't like this. And I don't want my life to be difficult.
He can get Cheney. Yeah, he can get Cheney pretty much exactly, and I think that's all. Or he could go like a wizard and a bribe or something like that. I don't know. I think I like Necro narrowly, but
I think I like Tessa narrowly, so there you go.
Sweet, contested.
And I just think it comes down to that one werewolf. If Tessa can target him and remove him, that game is over. If he can't, Travel Scrabble has a pretty good chance of, like, a really good chance of winning it.
Yep. All Stars of Chaos versus Fear and Bloating, so a Chaos versus Nurgle match. Locust's 15-20 Chaos team, missing their best Chaos Warrior, who is
against a
just
against a 21-40 Nurgle team.
Yeah, good fucking luck.
I take the Nurgle.
Yeah, me too. Sorry, buddy.
I mean, you get inducements, but there's only so much inducements that Chaos really cares about against that much Nurgle. And Felwis Quadadal versus Ars Gotia. So 1920, I think, High Elves. Do they get any? Oh, they have more players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
1920 10. Versus...
So they're 1990 because they have a loner lineman.
Versus 1940. So no inducements. Or no, wait, so you're saying the High Elves have a loner lineman?
Yeah, so it's 50k to Zizeta.
Zizeta's missing one of his tentacle pieces, which is a bit of a pain.
Yeah.
But that said, I mean, I feel like the Elves should win this.
Yeah.
They got the natty one turner. I mean, like, the Chaos are going to beat the shit out of them. There's a lot of Claw Mighty Blow kicking around here.
Yeah, but with that natural... Well, he doesn't have the Strength 5 guy anymore, who actually made quite a bit of a difference in terms of just, like, being annoying and getting in the way. But the natural one turner is pretty annoying. And that thrower is a nightmare, because he can just, like, 2+ it from so many places with accurate pass and strong arm. it doesn't really matter if Z-Zeta chunks through the elves. It matters if there are 2 elves that still exist, right? It's Tonnerre and Solesque Row. If those exist, it doesn't really matter how many other players you've removed.
So what do you think?
I don't know. Man, all of these are hard. I don't like it. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Emily is having too much fun over there.
I don't know what she's doing. What are you doing?
Ultimate Chicken Horse.
Oh, she's watching people play Ultimate Chicken Horse, which is very fun if you haven't played it.
I am not.
I think I like Z-Zeta. There's a lot of Mighty Blow, and there's no
We have
bench.
so
for the
many
elves.
contested picks. I like this.
Well, we're gonna go crazy on points this week, I guess. It's a good first point round to check out.
Yeah, we'll
And
see.
then, well, I guess we go over to Div 2 now.
Yeah.
Div 2A schedule.
They haven't played a single game. I'm so proud of you, fucking idiots.
I'm the only one who's played a game so far.
I know. You're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I had to. Charlestown Chiefs versus Dreams of Golden Streams. Lizards versus Rats. We predicted the Rats.
And they did.
They did. 2-1. 4 armor breaks, 10 armor breaks, 27.
We're actually doing very well so far.
I feel like next week is going to change that a lot because we predicted so many opposite games. 27 blocks versus 16 blocks, so low punchy game, but that's not unexpected with how these teams looked.
Yeah, the breaks the Lizards got mattered though. On 10 breaks they got
6
removals,
casualties.
and the Rats also suffered 10 removals, so they either broke themselves or they were doing some fouling. Who knows?
Yeah, but with
So good game for the Lizards.
Yeah, a lot of damage, but the Rats were able to win 2-1. Maybe they scored before they lost too many Rats, or maybe they just
there was a decent fireball. Looks like so. The
Oh,
Lizards,
yes.
yeah, like had a good punching game.
Superfed talked about this, I think, on the podcast. He's like the most vocal anti-fireball person ever, but he fireballed here because he thinks like the one situation where it's okay to fireball is against lizards, because you can get a bunch of skinks generally, and if you knock down pretty much any player, it's worth it because of how lizards tend to play,
Stunty, yeah.
and how lizards tend to play, where you've got a bunch of their good players kind of grouped up, and if you get down any of the corners as Rats, it's pretty useful, and a bunch of hits on Stunty, yeah.
Yep. So got punched, but took the game. So
seems very
Good
Rat-like.
stuff.
Seems very Superfed-like. In fact, loses all his players, wins game anyway. Welcome to
Yep.
Superfed playing Rats or Kislev.
well, we
or
get tired of that
whatever.
with Kislev, so we just picked a team that's better at doing that out of the box. Because Kislev, you actually need to get skills.
That's fair.
Then we have Yieldguard versus Fogmire Fenbeast. They had already played, so we did not predict this, but the Fogmire Fenbeasts, in classic Fogmire Fenbeast fashion, took down Nurgle somehow.
The weirdest thing
Nurgle
about
up.
this game.
No, actually, no, they didn't beat Nurgle up. They-
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The Fogmire Fenbeast got 25 blocks, which I think is the least number of blocks I've ever seen them make. Ever.
Yeah.
They
that's
normally
fair.
get like
They-
60.
They still won.
They did.
They had a chainsaw, it looks like, against a Nurgle. Bold.
That is bold.
That's all I got. It's a bold move. Gourmet Governors, we saw that. That was the Vamp versus Dwarf
We did.
game. Secret Lizard Overlords versus Thick, Rich, and Creamy. Necro versus Lizards. We predicted the Lizards would win because the Necro had nothing, and they did. 2-1. Though the Necro did do a good bit more. Wait, no. The Necro got hit a lot more, but had the armor of the gods. And the Nurgle punched the Lizards very rarely, but got a ton of breaks and a lot of removals. So
Yeah.
probably the sort of result that Jimmy needed to be sort of in this game, but not quite enough.
Yeah, the lizard, it's probably just some sort of variety of 2-1 grind, and making it 2-1 for the lizards. But yeah, he probably needed to take advantage of the armor rolls that he was getting a little bit, and it didn't quite work out for him.
Yep. And then we have Orcs versus Average Joe's Gym, which is the Pro Elves. Orcs versus Pros, we predicted the Orcs would win, and they did, 2-1.
We crushed this week. Good job, us. High five me.
7 points for me, 9 points for you.
God damn. I mean, we're not. Are we done yet for those?
Yes, that's
We
all.
are.
That's literally all of our predictions because Div 2A played most of their games.
Oh, 17 armor breaks versus 4 armor breaks, 50 blocks versus 8, 9 KOs and 3 casualties sustained by the High Elves. So the High Elves just kind of got ground into the dirt. And
Yeah.
They got a
It's
touchdown
classic.
at some point, but yeah, there weren't enough elves to do anything by the end of the game, I think.
Yeah, there was even succeeding the fireball roll means you get knocked down, right? I think it does. So there's even a pretty good fireball.
No,
the Orcs got
it's-
fireballed. And...
Succeeding the fireball roll means you didn't get knocked down, right? Because the other team rolls it and uses the fireball and you have to roll them.
You roll your own fireball.
Yeah,
You
but
roll against,
roll
against your players, so it's like an armor roll. So
Yeah,
high rolls are bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, successes you get. Yeah, I was thinking since you rolled your own, you wouldn't want a success, but a success. Yeah, stupid dice log things.
So yes, so it was a fireball on 4 players and 3 of them got knocked down. So it was a very above average fireball.
For sure,
Not
yeah.
very. I mean, you get what I'm saying. But not enough for them to win.
Yeah, it's probably where the one touchdown came from, to be fair.
Yeah, could be. Bring out your undead versus the clicheos. The
Cliche
clicheos. We're never gonna do it though.
No.
We didn't predict this because it had already been played, but the chaos took the undead down. Or no, this is Khemri. 2-0.
A lot of
which
removals.
is surprising because Rand did not have.
Yeah, it was a lot of removals on the behalf of the chaos. Regen being perfectly average at 50-50, but when you have to roll 8 regen rolls in a game, you're pretty upset, I think.
And there's nothing to write down because we didn't predict that. And then we have Brick and Mortary versus Delves in black. MVP to a Lino Orc and to a dead Lino Dark Elf. Tells that story.
1-1 game, no SPP anywhere that matters. Enjoy.
Yeah. Well, the Orcs might have gotten a little bit that mattered. But
They did, yeah. They got some on some people. Orcs got a vanity pass, in fact.
Wow.
On Resin Noob.
Resin Noob. Or an Intercept. I think that's also
true.
1 SPP.
Yeah, I think so. It might be 2, but probably 1.
Was there an Intercept rolled? Let's see. Yes, there was an Intercept rolled, but it was a failure.
Oh, disappointing.
Alas.
Almost right.
Shall we get these predictions?
The elves taking a death, 2 casualties, 4 KOs, 45 blocks. So they both scored on their own drive. The orcs weren't didn't do enough to remove enough elves to make it possible for them to get their second touchdown in. Basically, is probably what happened there. And leaderboard first. There was one tie in this division between that last team, Spoony Bard and Fiction, so they're in the middle. But we have Big Chuck, Superfed, Pris, Benchley, who is somebody else, and I can't remember off the top of my head who it is. Oh, that's Spoopy, right? Rolling Red, Too Awesome, and Luminous in the initial lead with their wins, and we can take some more predictions here. Brick and Mortary versus Dreams of Golden Streams. So we got
interesting game. This is Fiction versus Fed.
Yeah, that's a big one. Both pretty well known names in the community. Fiction at 1760, Fed at 1290 plus 4 loners, which are what 50k, so another 200. 1490 versus 1760. So what, 2 something, 270. That's a wizard and 120k, which isn't a whole lot, right?
Yeah, his dirty player is out and seemingly armor busted, so potentially fire. Oh, niggled and armor busted. That's got to be a fire.
How much do Skaven star players cost?
I don't know. Lots.
Yeah. Well, Skitter Stab is 160, so 310 to get Skitter and a wizard, and I think he's below that. He could spend like 40 of his own cash to get both, but if he's at 120 with not a full team, I don't think he'd do that. But he does have a wizard and 2 Agi rats, right? Which makes a pretty big difference.
So this is an interesting game. It's a tough one for rats often because orcs are fairly speedy, like reasonably fast. They have like a lot of movement 6 players, which is not fast by any stretch of the imagination. But for a bash team, it's not slow, at least. He's got a couple of really good dodge hunters. He's got a diving tackle piece. He's got a strength up frenzy tackle piece. He doesn't have a mighty blow tackle, which is definitely a godsend for Superfed in terms of like the random blitzes that are going to come in on gutter runners that get exposed.
The strength frenzy tackle juggernaut blitzer is like the gutter runner hunter if he just has Mighty Blow, he would be like the bane of all gutter runners. And the other thing that's a little bit annoying is that the orcs have so much guard, right? If they wanted to, and black orcs are slow, so they're going to be sticking together generally. If he does the like black orc cage grind up the field sort of thing, he's pretty much always going to be in an at least two guard corner cage, and the sort of wrestle tackle, cage dive is going to be heavily disincentivized, because he could, if Fiction played very carefully, he could make every cage dive for Superfed a 3-die uphill. So that's pretty.
Well, that's where the wizard's going to have to come in.
But you only get one wizard.
Yeah, but that's all you need usually.
Yeah, and so I guess I think this is going to come down to Superfed's offense. On Superfed's defense, he's got that wizard. He can probably either stop a score or get a score out of the wizard and some gutter runners. And I think it all comes down to what he can do on his own offense, and if the orcs can stop that.
We've mulled it over enough. What do you think?
Ugh. So all these are hard. I think I'm going to go with Fiction.
Okay, I'll go with Fed. I think I agree with you mostly, but I'm going to keep things in.
Delves and bring out your undead. So we've got Spoony Bard 1530 Dark Elves. That actually, it's way higher than that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So plus another 210. So he's at 7.
I was going to say, I don't want to alarm you, but I think Rand has all of his Tomb Guardians, but one of them is MNG. So
it's 17.
The only one with skills.
So it's 1740 Dark Elves versus 1490 Khemri with 3 Tomb Guardians with no skills.
Yep. It's a weird game.
But like all of those Dark Elves are on like the 5 really good players, and then there's a bunch of loners. I mean, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blodge for the Dark Elves, and
has a tackle palmer, which is nice, of course, but only one.
One tackle wrestle.
Tackle. He's got 2 wrestle tackle, and one of them is a strength up throw raw, so that's not bad. But I still think the Dark Elves probably take this.
This is not as bad as I thought it was, considering he has so many tackle. But yeah, I think this is a Dark Elf game to lose.
Yep. Chaos versus Orc, probably the Chaos.
Clicheos versus the meanest greenest boys. 1870 Chaos.
Versus 1960 Orcs. So the Orcs can definitely go all mans in this, and that's their way to victory, is to basically stand and fight. They've got so much strength. They've got a ton of blodge. They've got so much guard. Yeah. Their way they win this is by making the Chaos have a bad turn, like forcing them to have bad blocks, forcing them to make risky plays, and then not immediately getting like pitch cleared, and then getting to punch back with their Mighty Blow.
The Chaos have 3 guard and could potentially have 4 because they've got a level pending on Bone to Pick, but he's...
Yeah, I mean, you can't just like base mindlessly, but you do have to put a lot of pressure on Chaos, or else they're just going to get their Surgical Claw Mighty Blow blitz every turn, and you're going to punch back with Mighty Blow, which is just not as good. Like, you need some way to put pressure on them, and this is a Chaos team that can have pressure applied to it. Like,
yeah, it's going to be...
Even if he takes guard on Bone to Pick, that's still 2 guard on Strength 3, where the Orcs have way more guard on way stronger players. Lots of it is on tackle, and there's like a good amount of tackle, but not a lot of it is on the kill pieces.
It's a bullyable Chaos team, I guess, is what.
Yeah, most Chaos teams are a little bullyable, and this one is more than average.
Yeah, it needs the Orcs can get in there and utilize that guard and strength to make to sort of marginalize a bunch of the Beastmen. And yeah, there's 2 Chaos Warriors with Claw Mighty Blow who are going to punch back. But as long as the Orcs are careful about not giving up free Claw Mighty Blow hits and letting the hits that they have to take for their base all mans come from the Beastmen, then they should have a pretty good time just kind of forcing the Chaos into a position that they want.
Yeah, I also thought you were going to take Claw.
I'd be very surprised if this wasn't Claw, yeah.
So you're going to have 3 guard. So the thing is, and this is what happens a lot in this matchup, is can you create a meaningful numbers advantage, in particular like removing good Orc pieces, before the Orcs' overwhelming strength advantage like removes you from the game?
until
like,
they
all
get
it
you
takes
into a
is-
position where you're uncomfortable and can't
all
do
it
what
takes
you
is
want.
one bad turn from the chaos, or like a couple of like turns with no removals, and then suddenly that like it's totally flipped. You are aggressively
Mhm.
unfavored.
I feel I feel like it's probably like 60-40
There's
Orcs,
only
but yeah.
one bench for the Orcs, but I do like the Orcs here a bit.
Me
How much
too.
of a bench does Chuck have?
One, I think.
Chuck has one as well, yeah. But like is as likely to take damage as
Yeah.
I don't think it's a totally lost cause. I think
No,
there's
no.
lots of worlds in which you just get some nice Claw Mighty Blow removals early on. Like if you go on offense first and you just remove a couple of pieces on the line,
Mhm.
suddenly this game is great. But if you don't do that, and more often than not you don't do that, it gets harder the longer the game goes on, where you don't create a meaningful advantage.
Yeah, as a fellow Bash coach, my strategy in this game would be like pray to God you get offense, and then try to like focus turn 1 and turn 2 entirely on getting removals and just see if you can get something done, because that's the best way you have of getting an early advantage and just riding that to winning. But I think it's like 60-40 Orcs probably, but yeah, I'm gonna take Orcs.
Yeah, I had this exact scenario play out last season, except like slightly smaller teams, and I was playing my stays, and I got offense, and I was like, sweet, this is what I needed. I can like totally make this work. And then he got perfect defense and just like slapped all of his Orcs on the line, and I just had a ton of red dice, and then I just proceeded to dice him to the ground. But for the first few turns, it was looking pretty.
Average Joe's Gym and Secret Lizard Overlords.
So pro elves versus lizards. Lizards tend to struggle against elves. In particular, sturdy elves like pro elves. Usually they can take the punch and roll with it, so it's not as bad.
So pros are sturdy?
Or high elves, sorry, these are high elves. So yes, they are sturdy.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's going to be very hard to pick anybody other than the high elf. Well, I mean, so on the one hand, the high elves have no players. On the other hand, they're high elves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 8, 9, 10, 11.
High elves with inducements.
70.
I like high elves, yeah.
High elves are what, 70? So this is 280. So 14, 15, 10 against 1850. Yeah, I think I like high elves here. No tackle from the lizards. 2 of the Saurus have no block. The skinks can certainly do things, but when you have like an agi skink matchup versus an agi elf matchup, I like the elves.
I know for a fact that that's a double.
Oh,
On Abraham's Skinkin the Fourth.
block again.
Well, we were
No.
talking about it. There's a lot of musing.
That's for next week us to evaluate. Then we have so I think I like the elves there, just the inducements and the fact that there's no tackle anymore. My cat
She scared
just
herself.
like fell off a shelf.
Just a bit of a chunky spaz.
The one turner does exist. That's true. He's not like quite a one turner, but he's could do some things.
Yeah.
But
I mean, lizard one turns are not the most reliable thing on the planet, but they're not bad.
thick, rich, and creamy and gourmet governors. So we've got Jimmy Burrito's 1560 Necro, and we've got Luminous's Vampires that we just watched, who are 1730.
That's an interesting one.
It is. Lumi is out the strength movement vampire from that
the
last
one who
game we saw.
died And then got better.
Yeah, he's just MNG'd for this one, I think. But
This might actually be a tough game for the Vamps. Werewolves are good at hunting down vampires that get out of position with Claw Mighty Blow.
and Vamps like slow teams, and Necro are not really a slow team with those vampire or with the werewolves.
Though this team doesn't have any ghouls, so it is a little slower than most Necro teams.
That's true. Slower than average. Slower
Slower
than
than
the average Necro. I'm being Yogi Bear.
You are a trial sometimes.
I know.
Yeah, and like the Vamps are missing their best player, so this is going to be a tough one, I think, for them.
And
both
Necro
of the,
get
both of the wolves have tackle, right? And the Necro do get inducements.
yeah, and so like a wizard, just to be able to knock down the ball when it's on a vamp and then steal it, run away. Because vampires are slow. 2 werewolves can do a thing. Normally flesh golems are pretty good at getting in the way, but vampires have hypnogaze. We don't have much in the way of like if
You can even scum for a. Nah.
you could scum Cheney, but I don't know if it's worth it.
I was gonna say a wizard and a bribe, but that's too much money. I was misreading the values. Anyway, I think I like the Necro there.
I think I do too. The zombies can do some fun things. Like they just get to be super annoying. Their zombies are very good at making your opponent roll dice they don't really want to, and vampires don't like rolling dice they don't have to.
Yeah, and they're too sturdy to really like lose any serious numbers. Cogs of War versus Ye Old Guard, so the dwarves versus the Nurgle. Yes, the 21-20 Nurgle team. I think the 21-20 Nurgle team is probably going to win.
I think so too. I mean, the one thing that a Nurgle team would hate going against dwarves are mass amounts of guard, because the Nurgle have a harder time getting guard. If they can't get good blocks, they can't get removals. And but the Nurgle are going to outguard the dwarves here, aren't they? So like that's
the Death Roller is going to be a thing for a while. And hopefully Yayo just ignores it, because I wouldn't bother trying to block it.
No.
That would be a huge mistake, I think. Just hit players with Cosmic. You've got Frenzy even. It's a bit of a double-edged sword in this Dorf matchup for sure, but just remove some players. You've got a couple of Claw Mighty Blows. Score just picked up Claw first, and that must be recent.
Yeah. Huge bench for well, he didn't pick it up first, he picked up block first.
Well, yeah, but he picked it up before Mighty Blow,
probably because he's playing against dwarves next.
But
yeah.
that's not a good idea, just so we're clear.
Not ideal.
There's enough armor 8 floating around, there's enough like armor busts floating around. There's even a couple of Niggles. Mighty Blow is just, well, I mean, Niggle I think actually Claw's better, but
long story short, the way that Nurgle will lose to dwarves is because of guard spam, and these dwarves don't really have guard spam, so the biggest advantage they have against Nurgle is just not there. So I think I have to take Nurgle.
Yeah, this Nurgle team doesn't have a ton, it must be said, but it's got enough, I think, to win.
It's got more than the dwarves, which is kind of the big thing, because they also outstrength them. Fogmire Fen Beasts and Charlestown Chiefs. So we've got ourselves a Lizard off. So we've got Steer and Rolling Red. Rolling Red is 1230. Oh, he's okay. Well, it's lizards against lizards, where one lizard team is missing 2 of their leveled Saurus.
Okay, well, Rolling Red is going to win.
The other way around?
No. Rolling Red is going to win.
Well, okay, so it's one team with 3 Saurus. One of them is a rookie versus a team with 6 Saurus, right? Like, and a Crocs and no Crocs. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Rolling Red is probably going to lose, which means that Rolling Red is going to win 100%.
I think every single time whatever Rolling Red I predict for or against, he does the opposite. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I don't think I've ever been correct about a Rolling Red matchup. But like, all logic says the lizard team with less Saurus by a huge margin is at a disadvantage, and Rolling Red is just going to prove me wrong this week, and I don't know how he will, but he will. And I think that's it for this review. It is. So let's bring us up the title screen. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed that. You've now seen both of our versions of recaps. If you have never seen us before, we've got the team review and the match review version. Next week will ideally be team review. But as I said at the start, I'm not going to be here. I'm going away on a trip on Saturday, and I'm gone for a week. I won't have access to my streaming setup. We're going to try to get someone to host for Shadorra to do a recap.
I got a message from Superfed during this saying he would host it, so we might do a thing with Superfed next, probably Thursday.
There you go. Excellent. So next week we'll likely be on Superfed's channel. Hopefully he saves the VOD, or I can steal it or something to put it on YouTube as well. But that'll be on Superfed's channel next week for this recap. But I hope all of you enjoyed this one. Thanks, everybody. We will see you next time. And until then, I've been Steakmittens.
And I'm Shadorra.
See you later, folks.